QPL's annual It's Time for Kind initiative is a seasonal celebration of the big and small acts of generosity that can turn a whole day around. Attend programs for all ages that promote kindness, contribute to our annual canned food drive, share your kindness story on our kindness walls, and more. Visit queenslib.org/It's Time for Kind to learn more. Queens Public Library wishes you and your loved ones a very happy holiday. Throughout the season, we'll be offering a joyful and vibrant selection of all ages books, movies, music, crafts, programs, and more. Join us in the festivities, and thank you for being part of our community. For more information, visit queenslib.org/holidays2022. Help us connect Queens residents to life-changing programs and services like this one. Now through December 31st, the impact of all gifts to the Queens Public Library Foundation will double through our matching gift challenge. To contribute, visit qplf.org/match2022.
Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. I'm Christopher Galarza, Queens Public Library's Community Health Educator. Today, we are joined by Monica and Edwin from Elmhurst Hospital's nutrition team. Elmhurst Hospital is a part of New York City's Health and Hospitals, whose vision is to be a fully integrated health system that enables New Yorkers to live their healthiest lives. We will start with a video that Elmhurst Hospital prepared for us, and then move on to a discussion about maintaining and promoting healthy eating during the holidays. As always, please write in any questions or comments you have for our dietitians in the chat so that we can respond to them during the segment. We're happy that you're all here, and we will start with our video.
Hey everybody, my name is Monica Schmidt. I am the Clinical Nutrition Manager here at Elmhurst Hospital.
My name is Ed Johnson. I'm the Ambulatory Clinical Nutrition Care Manager at Elmhurst Hospital here. And today what we're going to be making is a maple balsamic Brussels sprout recipe. Now this recipe is going to be perfect for something like a Thanksgiving dish. It's going to be quick, nutritious, delicious, and you're going to have a really good time making these because nobody wants to be in the kitchen for a long time, right?
Yeah, and I love that. I feel like Brussels sprouts, got a bad rap when they were kids, and now it's kind of trendy again. People love them.
Yeah.
You see them at restaurants and all types of preparations. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah, they are coming back. And so for the ingredients, it's pretty simple. We have Brussels sprouts, onions, you can do salt and pepper, rosemary, hazelnuts, balsamic vinegar, and maple.
Great. Not many ingredients.
Yeah, not many ingredients. So this is a smaller sample size compared to what you would make at home. But this is just for demo purposes. So when you're at home, you could use as much or as little as you'd like.
If you have a big family, you could buy tons and tons of Brussels sprouts. But for us, just us right now, we'll show you a small amount.
Yeah, and all you're going to need for this is just a bowl and a spoon, and you're good to go when mixing up all these ingredients. So first we're going to start out with the Brussels sprouts. You can use about 4 cups at home if you'd like. Right here, we just have around half a cup.
Right.
So we're going to put these into the bowl.
Now, how did you prepare those Brussels sprouts? You look like you cut them up a little.
Yeah, that's a great question. So over here, I'm going to show you how I prepare them. So we have the whole Brussels sprout over here.
Look like little cabbages.
Yeah, it is little cabbages. And at the end, it's going to have like a hard end, right? So when you cook them, a lot of people don't like the hard ends because you want it to be soft and tender, and we can take this part out. Yeah, so what we can do here is cut off the end Okay. And then for this recipe, you're gonna want to cut it in half. So once you cut off the end, you can just cut them in half right down the middle.
I feel like that helps it to get even a little bit more crispy, right? When you're
Yeah,
when you cut it,
it does.
trim it up.
Then you're good to go, right? And it'll take less time
Less
to
time
cook.
to cook. Yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
you can just throw these in. I'm gonna finish up with these last two.
Now we all know Brussels sprouts are healthy, but what kind of nutrients are we getting in the Brussels sprouts?
So for the Brussels sprouts, you're gonna have a lot of fiber, vitamin A, and it's even a great source of protein. So you're really getting a whole bunch of nutrients when using these Brussels sprouts. And like you said, when we were younger, we didn't like to eat them, right?
Yeah,
They had a
something
bad-
green though for kids.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It had a bad rep, but now let's bring them back, right?
But cool again.
They're cool again. The next ingredient is going to be our red onions, as you can see here. And we can just,
I'm a fan of red onions. I feel like they add a lot of flavor, but not too overpowering compared to other varieties of onions. They have a little sweeter, less intense bite to them.
yeah, and it also adds a really good fragrance. It's very aromatic.
Yeah.
So it adds a lot to the dish.
Yeah, and the color is pretty too of the red onion.
It is, yeah. I agree. So,
Now, how would you prepare these then if you want to get nice slices like you have there?
right, so how I prepared this are just thin slices.
Okay, so you
So-
have that, and then
So we have this onion. This is half an onion right here.
okay,
A quarter of an onion, half and half. And so you can just cut it real thin. Now what we did here was we cut off both ends of the onion.
okay.
That way, when you cut them and slice them up, you can
So
just
you
easily
little
pull them
slices.
apart.
Great.
Uh-huh.
Easy.
Can be just like that, right? So you can slice them up, keep going until you have enough that you want to put into the
Yeah, and I'm sure if you're not a huge fan of onions, you can use less if you want, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, personally, I like more. I like the flavor it gives, yeah. And also the flavors mix nicely with the Brussels sprouts, so they capture each other's flavor.
Yeah, and I feel like when the onion really cooks down, it even gets a little sweet
Yeah, it does.
as well.
So next up, salt and pepper as you please. So put some pepper in there. If you have a salt shaker or grinder, you can throw that in there as well. And here we have rosemary. Again, a great aromatic for the entire dish.
What's the best way to prepare the rosemary? And here I see you have fresh rosemary.
Yeah, so
Would
we
you use
have,
solid rosemary if you had it?
yeah, definitely. If you have that in your cabinet, this is what you have. You know, there's no need to go out and buy the fresh rosemary. But
Could you use another herb if you didn't have rosemary?
yeah, any herb that you would like to put in your dish, you can always mix and match or swap or add.
Okay.
It's really up to you. So for this whole rosemary, you have this hard stem in the middle.
Okay.
We don't want to cut that up because it's just going to be a very unpleasant mouthfeel. Yeah. So we take these leaves of the rosemary and we can pluck them off right over here, place them on the cutting board until you get all of them. You don't want to waste any, right? So, okay, that's the stem. You put that to the side. And now you have all these fresh rosemary leaves. Yeah, yeah. That's one of the first things you'll notice from this, right?
And
And
I
then-
feel like the rosemary is very thing the holiday season. Whereas I'd like the rosemary in this dish for the
Yeah.
Thanksgiving dish.
Thanksgiving
Even
and
Christmas,
Christmas
right?
too, right?
Yeah, love that.
So you can bunch these leaves up right here, and just be careful. You want to get a nice fine dice.
You can sometimes, if you don't chop it up fine enough, it can be a little chewy.
Yeah, it can be a little chewy, and if you chop them up well enough, then you won't even notice they're in there.
That just adds a
In
good
terms of
flavor
texture,
to it.
yeah, just gives good flavor, gives a nice smell to it. Okay, and once you're done with that, you'll throw that in the dish, as we already did. So next we have hazelnuts. All right, so you can choose to roast these or just keep them as it is. It's really up to you. And
Now, what does the roasting do for it? If we were to roast these?
yeah, the roasting gives it a really nice color. It gives it a nice little crisp on the outer edges. So it gives it, a good textural feel, and it even brings out the flavor a little bit more. Right.
Could you use a different type of nut if you wanted?
Yeah, whatever your favorite nut is, you can interchange it. It doesn't have to be hazelnut, but today we're going to be using pecans, peanuts, whatever you'd like. Yeah, and they're also a really good source of healthy fat and protein that you're just continuing to add to the dish. Right? Okay, I'm going to throw that in there. And if you do choose to roast the nuts, you can put it in the oven around the last like 5 minutes of cooking the Brussels sprouts.
Could you do it on the stove top as well in a saucepan or
Yeah.
saute pan?
Yeah, while your Brussels sprouts are cooking, you can take that saucepan, put it over medium heat, and throw it in the dish. Just get them, stir it around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Next up, we have the balsamic vinegar. Throw that in.
About how much you're using there? Just enough to kind of coat them?
Yeah, just enough to cook them. And you don't want to use all of it just yet, but just enough for cooking, just to give it a nice coat. Okay, now we're just going to stir all this up. And also, for the crisping process, the cooking process.
Add a nice caramelization to it.
Yeah. And you want to put a cooking spray or oil. Okay. Yep, thank you.
Yeah, keep it light and just use a little bit of cooking spray.
Yep. If you have olive oil, vegetable oil, whatever oil you'd like, you can just throw that in there as well. Okay, you're going to stir it, make sure everything is coated. And for an even cooking process, you can put them in the baking pan, but you also want to make sure all the Brussels sprouts are on the flat side down.
Okay.
Okay? Yep. Okay. All right. And you want to spread them out a bit too.
I really like the colors in this.
Yeah, they really are a beautiful color. You want to spread them out so it cooks evenly. If they're too bunched up together, you're going to have a lot of uneven heat, a lot of uneven cooking. So you just want to really make sure they're really nice and spread out. Okay. And you have something that looks like that.
And then how long do you put them in the oven for?
Yeah, and while you're prepping this, you should really put your oven to around 425 degrees. You want to put that on a preheat.
Okay.
So that way, while you're prepping all of this, by the time you're done, your oven will already be preheated. You can throw this in for a good 30 minutes, and you can keep an eye on it. If your oven has a light or you want to take a peek every 15 minutes or so, right? You can check on it, and you want them to have a really nice golden brown on the outer edges.
Get a little crispy on the outside.
Yeah, you want them to be crisp, and your onions will also crisp up as well. Okay. And now, while we put these in the oven, you can use the same bowl, and you're going to make your balsamic maple dressing, coating. Okay. So we'll take the rest of the balsamic, put it in, and you'll take your maple syrup.
Okay. Could you use a different sweetener if you wanted? Could you add maple syrup?
Even honey, stevia,
Okay.
those would be good
Lots of
ones.
sugar.
Yeah, even agave nectar, that would all add like a nice sweetness to that coating.
That's easy.
Mm-hmm. And you mix that up.
I'm a huge fan of balsamic with the Brussels sprouts.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. And you'll be surprised at that maple or honey, whatever sweetener you're using. It adds a nice thickness to it. Okay?
Great.
Yeah. So that's going to be a dressing. And once they're out of the oven,
We're taking these out of the oven there?
taking these out of the oven after, again, half an hour or until the outer coating is brown and golden. And you're going to toss them into your mixture. Okay. And now you just want to coat the entire dish. Coat all the Brussels sprouts, coat all the onions, the nuts, everything just like that. And it will be
Nice.
ready. We're gonna show you
That's
the
very easy.
final product. Yeah.
All right, I think we have one down here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And this will be your final product. You can see the hazelnuts, the green from the Brussels sprouts, the purple from the onions. It's all gonna look very pretty
yeah,
on your
and I
dish.
love how much those onions cook down too.
Yeah,
They looks really nice.
right. Everything's gonna be nice, tender, and ready for you to eat. And that's it.
Great.
Quick and
I
easy.
love this. It's easy and it's a great dish to bring to any kind of holiday, Thanksgiving event. I feel like you can whip this up in under an hour.
Under an hour for
Yeah.
sure. And Thanksgiving during those holidays, we're gonna be in the kitchen sometimes all day. Sometimes you have to wake up extra early to start cooking. So this is just a nice relief, almost peaceful,
Yeah.
because it's just a quick and easy recipe.
And it's healthy.
And it's healthy.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you
See ya.
guys. Happy holidays.
That's delicious. Thank you for sharing that, guys. So I just want to now talk about just healthy eating and during the holidays and everything. So can you just talk more about like what is a healthy diet? Everyone always talks about healthy diets, but everyone has a different idea of what healthy is. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think the key is balance, right? It's always going to be balance for anything you're doing. We're not necessarily fans of cutting things out completely that are considered like unhealthy, right? Like even desserts we can have in moderation. You never want to cut out the things that bring you comfort, right? But I think a balanced diet, a balanced meal with a variety of different foods, that's going to be the most healthy.
Yeah, including like all varieties of food groups, trying to get a variety of fruits and vegetables, right? So, and then also balancing it out, as Ed said, but also, eating those things that you do truly like, especially around the holidays. Some people will really try to stick to a rigid diet, a rigid plan. But what usually ends up happening in those cases is you end up overindulging or overeating because you are overly restricting yourself. So just trying to, balance things, practice mindful eating. So taking time with the foods that you're eating, to recognize your hunger cues and also eat intuitively as well.
I just wanted to say to our audience, if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat so that we can ask the nutrition team. So you guys say, eat balance. What can you speak a little bit more about that? Because so growing up, we had the food pyramid, and now we don't really use that food pyramid anymore. Now we have My Plate, and we may even have something else. And so it keeps changing on what we consider. So can you just speak a little bit more about that?
Sure. You wanna start?
Yeah. I know balance can be a confusing term, especially with, the charts and images changing over the years. But I think as long as, you don't want to leave out certain things, like you want to make sure that you're having your servings of vegetables in the day. If you're going a day and you don't have any vegetables or fruits or anything like that, and you realize, you're just eating rice, pasta, like just carbs and no other nutrients like with it from other foods, then there's something that needs to shift, right? You want to make sure that you're consuming the right amount of vegetables, fruits, protein, getting all these macro and micronutrients from different sources. And
being mindful when you are eating your meals and snacks, to include all those different food groups, those macronutrients. So having carbohydrates at your meals and snacks, having protein, having your fruits and vegetables. And when we do incorporate all these different macronutrients and food groups at our meals, we also are going to, have more satiety at our meals, right? We're going to be more full. If we're just eating exclusively one food group, for instance, if we're just eating carbs at our mealtime. We might be hungry an hour later. So that's another, I think, thing to be mindful of when we are having our meals and snacks.
Yeah.
Mhm. And can you talk more about, the macronutrient, right? So, I think often we kind of say, okay, so this is a protein, this is a carb, this is a,
Mhm.
so, but then like for me, I love, rice and beans, right? And so, are beans protein? Are they carbs? Are they both? Like, how do we factor that into how we're eating every day?
Yeah, beans are protein and a carb. You're
Mhm.
correct.
Mhm.
And yeah, I love rice and beans too. And that's again something I want to emphasize. We should never tell someone, especially when you don't know their background, like to cut out certain
Mhm.
foods, right? So you can certainly keep, go with your example, the rice and beans, but you also want to take a look at the rest of your plate, right? Where's the where are the other vegetables, or where's the other protein coming
Mhm.
from? Yeah, beans, do have protein in it, but it's going to be limited with the amount you're having within the rice and
Yeah.
beans mixture, right? So you do want to add another source to make it more filling and a whole meal, right? And there is also room there for vegetables. If you see that those rice and beans are taking up like the entire plate, maybe you want to bring the portion size down a bit to
Mhm.
make room for those other varieties of foods.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. And then, one of the big things that we hear about, and I know you guys have implemented this at Elmhurst, is plant-based
Mhm.
diets. Can you talk more about what that exactly means?
Sure. So plant-based diet, it's not necessarily vegan. A lot of the language that we've used also is plant forward. So looking at what you're eating, because I think a lot of us know the benefits of plant-based eating, right? There's benefits to our health, the environment. So we do see more and more people are going towards more of a plant-based diet.
Mhm.
So those are there are benefits to it. But like if you are starting or want to start a plant-based diet, it's starting off small, right? A lot of, what we tell people is start with Meatless Monday, right? If you like to eat like a meat meal for your dinner, say for instance, like a bolognese sauce, swapping that out with maybe some lentils, maybe some mushrooms, you swap it for beans or tofu, sources of protein, those plant-based sources. What
Mhm.
else?
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
and again, emphasizing that plant forward is
Yeah.
great too. The
It doesn't have to be just
yeah,
strict
just
vegan.
plants, right? The point is you want to really introduce yourself
Yeah.
to enjoying plants again. That explore the possibilities that there are ways to cook with vegetables
Mhm.
that can be equally as delicious
Yeah.
as meat-based.
Yeah, and really,
products. Yeah.
a lot of those plant-based sources of proteins are bringing extra benefits. Like they are going to have more micronutrients, more fiber to them,
Mhm.
which is where you are getting a lot of those health benefits.
And so when we swap out, meat for plant proteins,
Mhm.
does that include dairy? Should we also be looking to swap out our dairy, or is it okay to keep in dairy with our meal?
Yeah, it's okay to
Yeah,
keep dairy with
yeah,
meat.
that's a preference,
Yeah,
right? That's going to be. I personally eat dairy.
me too. Me too. I love dairy.
Yeah, so it is going to be more of your preference. If you want to choose more of a plant-based dairy option like oat milk,
Right.
soy milk,
Yeah. Almond milk.
but
Yeah.
yeah, dairy. There's, if
Nothing wrong with it.
there's
It's
still benefits to dairy. You're getting calcium, vitamin D.
Mhm.
You want to obviously try to focus on more of the lower fat options of dairy because, cheese, whole milk, those can have a lot of saturated fat, which can, have bad implications for our heart cholesterol levels. So
But yeah, it is an option. That really is up to the individual if they want to do that or not. But if you're following a strict plant-based diet, then yeah, it would make more sense to do like the oat milks and
Yep.
almond milks, things like that. Yeah.
And if, let's say someone wants to have a more plant-based forward meal for the holidays, right? What would you suggest to start out as? Do you suggest that they go for the full entree to be plant-based, to incorporate more sides? What would you suggest?
I'm a fan of easing yourself
Yeah.
into it, especially if you're just starting with it.
And if you're cooking for others too.
Yeah, and if you're cooking for others. But like you mentioned, I think sides would be a good way to start. Just incorporating
Mhm.
those because side dishes. How many do we see, right? If we are at a place where we can go to someone's house or have people over that we have a widespread. Typically, there's a lot of side dishes, right? So that way, yes, you can still incorporate plant-based side dishes, but you can have another half of the side dishes that aren't plant-based if you want, but you have the option there at least, right? So
Great. So one of the I mean, I definitely think about this. I'm sure other people do. One of the big things that come up is like, oh, holidays, we're going to overeat, we're going to indulge. Do you have any sort of like tricks and tips about, how can we make sure that we're not overeating during the holidays?
Yeah. One of the things to do, and I think some people think that they need to be doing this, is you shouldn't be skipping meals because, some people think, oh, I'm going to be eating so much later at my family event, my family holiday party. I'm not going to eat anything. And then what you end up doing is overeating, right? But also, as we mentioned before, don't deprive yourself of those foods that you like, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up eating more.
Yeah.
So, starting with, a normal, sensible portion size, be mindful. Mindful eating is a huge thing too. Really enjoying that meal, sitting down with family, trying not to have any distractions, really taking in that meal and eating slowly and really tasting the texture, taking in the texture, the taste of those foods.
Enjoying
I think that's
the flavor, enjoying company
in the environment.
Yeah. And for the holidays, don't feel guilty. No one wants a guilty meal. Just
it's one day, right? Yeah. It's usually going to be that one day, that one event.
I'm going to indulge.
Me too. And then trying to, stick to your normal routine those days that you're not, partaking in those holiday festivities, getting, exercising and sticking to your normal diet, whatever that may be.
Yeah. Don't make it too much of a burden, enjoy yourself when you can. Right. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned this earlier. You spoke about intuitive eating. Can you speak a little bit more about what exactly intuitive eating is?
You want to talk about that?
Intuitive eating it's really like listening. It can be like listening to your body, right? If overeating, for example, right? A lot of times, there's a huge spread. We want to take everything, taste everything, but at the same time, if we're actually listening to our bodies, we know that we're kind of pushing the limit. We're kind of like forcing these foods down and just in order to, enjoy all the foods, enjoy all the flavors and things like that. But if you're listening to your body and you know that, okay, I could only eat a certain amount, right? That's one.
Yeah. Sometimes intuitive eating and mindful eating go hand in hand. So really like listening to our body and, I'm really craving a cookie right now.
Yeah.
That sounds great. And instead of making, I don't know, some low calorie, low fat, banana fake ice cream dessert, I'm going to just have that cookie because, we obviously have to be sensible about it. I'm not going to be eating a whole package of cookies, but
your body is a really good indicator. It's really good at telling you what it eats.
What you end up doing is you're trying to satisfy that sweet tooth by, filling it in with these low calorie, low fat, low sugar options. And then we end up eating more calories. What am I really feeling right now? Oh, I really want a cookie. Let me take this in. Let me enjoy this. And then I'm going to be satisfied after that and not overeat other foods that maybe are lower calories, but you end up eating more. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
And I guess part of that is, allowing there to be time for your body to signal to you, right?
Yeah.
One thing that I took a seminar about eating, and they're like, put the fork down. We often keep the fork in our hand and we just continue. It's like take a bite, put it down, and then like wait and like check in. Like, am I hungry? Am I not hungry?
Yeah, you really should take. Your body recognizes hunger or fullness within 15 to 20 minutes. So some people can eat their meal within 5 minutes. Or less than that. So and with that, we have to be conscious of our environment, right? Are we watching TV? Are we mindlessly eating? Are we on our phone? Are we in front of our computer while we're working. So
Mhm.
really taking that time for ourselves to be present in that moment while we're eating.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of doing that. Like
Me too.
I can
We all
eat
are.
real quick and not even thinking about
Especially
it,
if you're
right? But
hungry. That's why that
Yeah,
mindful
yeah.
eating, listening to our hunger cues is important.
right.
And not getting so extremely hungry where we eat within 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think and one thing that I was raised with was the clean plate club.
Mhm.
Oh
Oh
and
yeah.
right,
Yep.
not
We all
having
are.
to finish your plate is okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Save it for later, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's like great when you're out to eat, right? We don't need to eat everything on our plate. We can
Yeah.
take it to go, have it later in the day.
So I want to stay with. We're at the dinner. We have this beautiful, everyone brought in food. We have this beautiful buffet of food. Do you have any sort of like tips or strategies to maybe tackle the buffet? How should we be filling our plate? What should we be filling our plate with?
I think again, like we were saying, if you're taking too much space up with one item, then maybe you want to work on that balance, right? So you can definitely just be mindful of what you're taking, how much you're taking, and if you really want to try multiple things, maybe just take small portions of
Mhm.
each item, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're always tempted to take everything on a buffet.
Yeah.
When maybe we don't even really love that food. So we're kind of prioritizing, hey, what do I really, really want on this buffet?
Yeah, and then you can, by doing that, like,
Mhm.
sorry, going back, like if we're overfilling our plates, one, we can force ourselves to eat more than what our body needs,
Mhm.
and also, if you can't finish everything, you're wasting food, right?
Yep.
So that's
Sure.
a lot of food waste.
Mhm.
Mhm. Definitely. So what I'm hearing is, look at your plate. Make sure you grab a little bit of everything. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry, about just eating just chicken breast that's been boiled and no
No.
seasoning.
It's
Um,
sad.
and to slowly eat and then check in every now and again,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, and I would definitely take time for that meal. And maybe you are still hungry after that
Right.
15-20 minute mark.
Mhm.
And maybe you can have a little bit extra, right?
and like Monica said before, like take time to enjoy the foods rather than just kind of going at it,
Mhm.
right? So
And is there a way, is there like a useful way to, I guess, like measure portions or kind of like gauge how much I'm eating without like, busting out that measuring cup and say, okay, I need a fourth a cup of rice, I need a fourth a cup of beans.
yeah,
Yeah. So usually for a starch, you're going to be looking at like the palm of your hand,
Hmm.
or like a cupful. Like if you cup it like that, that's usually going to be like a half cup, or even they say like the fist here, like the front of your fist would be like about a half cup, just to estimate to eyeball it. If you're looking at proteins, that's going to be the entire palm of your hand like this. That's going to be about the 3 to 4 ounce mark or serving for your proteins. In terms of like fats, so like things like salad dressings, you probably do around a tablespoon of that. So that's going to be your whole thumb would be about a tablespoon.
Mhm.
What else am I missing? Vegetables, do as many as you want.
Yeah.
Usually like a half, usually my plate would say about, half your plate of vegetables, but the more the better. Variety of fruits and vegetables is always a good rule of thumb.
And for the protein, is that per protein? Is that for all of your protein? So if there's, a pork, a chicken, and something else, am I doing a palm of pork, a palm of chicken, and then a palm of tofu?
So
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a general like
Yeah.
guidance,
Sure.
right? Like, yeah, I mean, if you are in that situation, you can use it. Yeah, just
Yeah.
use that for as a general rule.
Yeah, if you're talking about holidays for general eating, you're
Yeah.
usually doing around 4 ounces
Yeah.
of
4 ounces,
meat. So
right.
that would be your typical serving at a meal.
Hmm.
But for the holidays, it's okay to have. You can even do a smaller, like a 2 ounce
Okay.
size each if you wanted. If you wanted to try all.
And then, one thing is during holidays, there's a lot of different festive drinks that are going on.
Mhm.
Should I worry about, how many drinks I'm having, whether it's just like punch, or if it's, my family, we make coquito, if anyone knows what that is.
Mm.
So can you talk a little bit more about, how we should be drinking and monitoring our drinks?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like, if you're talking about like sugar and calories, again, like this is the holidays. Yes, you can enjoy your holiday drink or so, but if you're having conditions like diabetes and things like that, of course you want to be really mindful of how much sweetness there is in these drinks, right? Because the sugar can, especially for drinks, there tends to be a lot of sugar packed in holiday drinks, and that can easily spike up your sugar levels.
Yeah.
Like,
There's obviously drinks that are going to be less sugar, less calories. Like if you're, mixing like a hard liquor, things like punch, obviously there's sugar calories in that. But if you are mindful of that, if you are concerned about the calories in drinks, there are lighter versions. You can always mix soda water, which is going to be calorie free, sugar free.
Yeah.
You can even mix that in with wine if you wanted to, cut the alcohol right a little bit, but also, adding more volume to those drinks.
Yeah, and there's a pretty much a sugar-free version of any drink out nowadays. So
Yeah.
you can always find
There's a big market for that for sure.
Yeah, you can always find like the recipes online, or if you're using certain products, you'll find like a sugar-free product of this.
Yeah.
Juices, different
There's
things.
a lot of different flavored seltzers,
Yeah,
things like that.
Uh-huh. So you
But
can
again, as Ed said, it's the holidays. Enjoy those drinks that your family likes to drink. You
Right.
can obviously be mindful of how many you're drinking. We never want to overdo it when it comes to alcohol.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Great. And then just we touched about this throughout, but can we be more mindful of the choices that we're making when we are going about eating during the holidays?
Be mindful. Just, I think again, like we were touching on a bit, just moderation, right?
yeah,
I guess like that's like the summary of it, right? It's moderation, it's the balance, it's the taking the time to eat these foods, really not just being there just to like eat, but also enjoying the company of your friends, family. Hopefully it is an enjoyable company. Or if you're watching like a show, just also be mindful that okay, you're also eating and
yes,
and
because I'm
taking
guilty of that too, where you have to, you're mindlessly on your phone or the TV. So I think that's a big thing, is the time with mindful eating is really slowing down. A lot of us rush all the time. So I think just
especially in New York, always goes with it. So,
eating while we're walking,
driving,
shoving a donut in our face while we're walking down the street.
Yeah, right.
And if people want to, learn more and speak to someone about, how to employ healthy eating in their life, who should they be speaking to?
Definitely a registered dietitian. Here at Elmhurst, we have 8 or 7 on staff now. So they're definitely accessible in the Queens community and our ambulatory care centers, just our regular primary clinics. We have them here, but all over New York City, especially the New York Health and Hospitals, we have readily available and accessible registered dietitians for those in the community. Anything else? No?
Great. And before we wrap up, what is your favorite holiday meal? I want to hear from both of you.
My mind just went to stuffing, so I'll just say I can eat stuffing like throughout the entire week. And,
oh my God. I'm definitely more of a savory person, so I love mac and cheese. I don't know if that's holiday. I guess Thanksgiving for sure. That is I will make it for any party. It's not. That's like, I know that's not a typical, you would think a dietitian would make, but that's definitely my comfort food.
Mac and cheese is a year-round holiday.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's my actually top favorite food. So, mashed potatoes too.
Garrett's popcorn for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
What was that?
Garrett's popcorn. It's from Chicago. It's like a really famous Chicago.
Is that the Chicago blend where it's cheese and caramel? Yep. Oh, that is really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas tradition.
Yeah, my family, we make a pork shoulder, and I look forward to it every year.
Oh, that
Nice.
sounds so good.
Yeah. So, is there any final last, things that you just want to drive home for our audience before we wrap up?
Enjoy the holidays.
Yes. Don't
Always
stress too much.
right. Always be mindful. Inside and outside of the holidays.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Enjoy time with your family,
Yep.
right? I think this is a great time where we all come together, and food is a huge centerpiece of these, traditional holiday get-together. So,
Yeah.
enjoy yourself. Enjoy the things that you like to eat.
I know.
Don't overly restrict. It's not a time to diet.
Right.
These holiday events are not the time to diet. So really enjoy yourself.
Right. And slow down time not only for food but also for loved ones, right?
Mhm.
Loved ones
Love
are
that. Yep.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will see you at our next Wellness Wednesday and hope you all have a wonderful and happy holiday.
Thank you,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.